Ben Simmons will start the 2021-22 season on a team other than the Philadelphia 76ers, if recent reports about a potential exit are to be believed. Simmons has officially requested a trade to search for greener NBA pastures now that Simmons, after much speculation, has reportedly requested a trade from the Philadelphia 76ers and told them he's not going to report to training camp. Golden State is one of the possible landing spots given its roster construction and its bevy of young assets. Sixers president and basketball operations Daryl Morey is clearly interested in a Golden State package. Ever since the Philadelphia 76ers were eliminated from the playoffs at the hands of the Atlanta Hawks, the franchise's offseason has been a hectic one when it comes to NBA trade rumors. This is solely because one of the players, and you might have guessed it already, yes, we're talking about Ben Simmons, and in the latest reports we can confirm that Ben Simmons is going to the Golden State Warriors. How do we know? Well, the big man is not currently talking to anybody in Philadelphia, and all his talking is being done through his agent. He's also cut out the communication with everyone in his team, including his coach. Simmons once again had a difficult postseason when it came to the offensive side of the ball. While there's no doubt or question about his playmaking abilities, which remained at a high level, his downright refusal or reluctance in some cases to shoot the ball is one of the major reasons why the 76ers struggled on offense. Simmons had a good regular season and made his first All-Star team, but the postseason ended up being his Achilles heel in the second round of the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks. Simmons posted an abysmal 9.9 points on 6.4 field goal attempts per game. In his final 3 playoff games, Simmons took just 14 shots. After the 76ers' Game 7 loss to the Atlanta Hawks, the tone of the 76ers coach, Doc Rivers, was as negative as anything else you would hear. When it comes to Simmons, it felt as if their confidence in the former number 1 overall pick was waning and that a change of scenery could be the best decision for both the 76ers and Simmons. This rang especially true when Doc Rivers was asked if Simmons could be the point guard of a championship team, and he simply responded saying, "I don't know." Although he did go on later to say, obviously he struggled from the free throw line and that became a factor in the series. There's no doubt about it, I still believe in him, but we have work to do. We're going to have to get him in the gym, put a lot of work in, and go forward. The damage appears to have already been done. While we don't exactly have the details about what's going on or what has been going on between the player and the franchise behind closed doors, Simmons must have been hurt hearing the head coach talk like that. It would have sounded to him like they were putting all the blame on him and that they no longer have faith in him, and given the history between the player and the franchise, Simmons must have felt unappreciated and hurt. We all know that Ben Simmons and the Sixers have been together since day one when he was selected as the first overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. He's their most prized asset, and given all that he's achieved since he got onto the team, it's not difficult to see why. Simmons has been proving himself since day one. He was named the NBA Rookie of the Year in his second season in the NBA, which was in 2018. Ever since then, he's gone on to feature in the NBA All-Star team in 2019, 2020, and 2021. The only stain on his career has been his inability to shoot and find the basket, so much that it appears he doesn't even try to shoot. Again, in the court because of this, the Australian native has been at the center of several jokes among Sixers fans. There are a number of reasons why the 6'10" man wants out of the Sixers, some of which are his fault, some of them are things that are out of his control. Simmons' value has probably dropped to the lowest in his entire career, but that hasn't stopped the 76ers from beginning trade talks with other teams in regards to their prized jewel. Of course, the interest in Simmons was high, but the 76ers have been playing hardball, asking for a ridiculous price for their main man. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why Ben Simmons has cut off communications with the organization. He also said he's willing to skip training camp as well the way things are going. It seems like it's just a matter of when, not if, this former LSU product is traded. Bleacher Report Jake Fisher also recently confirmed the reports of Simmons cutting off communication. According to Fisher, the situation appears to be getting worse by the day with Ben in the franchise. Joel Embiid has also tried to reach Ben several times since the end of last season, but he hasn't returned any of his calls. Damage has been done, and Ben doesn't want to return to the 76ers. Simmons is an elite defender, but he's unable to develop a jump shot in the NBA, and that weakness has haunted him throughout his career, especially this past postseason when Stephen A. Smith was asked if he would pursue Simmons if he was in charge of the Warriors. He said, "Yes, I do. I do understand from what I'm hearing that it's a house divided in that regard. Some people do, some people don't. I would tell you that I certainly understand any divide in the Bay Area. Look at the way that Draymond Green has struggled to shoot the basketball the last few years from the perimeter. If they added Ben Simmons to that mix, where would that leave us?" Simmons seems to rely on bullying his way into the court and dunking the ball rather than shooting the ball. Considered old-fashioned in the modern age of basketball, you're only a complete basketball player if you can shoot three-pointers and make those jump shots. The thing with Simmons is that he's not even attempting three-pointers. This will most likely shock you, but did you know that in Simmons' 5 years in the NBA, he's only attempted 34 three-pointers? Curry has probably attempted more three-pointers in a single game than Simmons has in his entire career. It only gets worse when you look closer at the stats, because in those 34 attempts, Simmons has only scored 5. He's made just 5 baskets in his 34 attempts in 5 years, so Simmons literally averages 1 3-point basket every season. That's just terrible, and to make matters even worse, Simmons isn't good at 2-point jumpers either. He scores most of his points by dunking, and yes, he literally needs to be 1 foot or 2 feet away from the basket to score. The main problem with this approach is that it leaves a player open to fouls, which usually results in a free throw. And while that sounds like a good advantage, the problem is Simmons is not good at free throws either. Simmons' free throws sit at a terrible 59.7%, and for a player of his caliber, that's just downright terrible. Now, you probably understand why there's a lot of noise about his shooting ability. Stephen A. Smith says there's a lot of things, but when he mentioned that the biggest issue with the Simmons trade to the Warriors, apart of course the outrageous price tag that the 76ers have slapped on him, is going to be his shooting struggles. The Warriors should be concerned that they should move for a trade for him. They will be fielding Simmons next to Draymond Green, who himself struggles with shooting. The defensibility of the two would obviously pair well with Green, and having Simmons would allow him to initiate the offense, which would allow Curry to hunt more. Off ball, both Simmons and Green are at their best when the ball is in their hands. Their playmaking ability at their size is what makes them key pieces of their team's success, but neither is a big threat off the ball, which will only limit what the other can do. There's every possibility that Simmons may never develop an adequate jump shot, but just imagine if he did. Simmons would be a beast. He would be invaluable to any team, because if he were to improve his shooting from the free throw line, he would provide whichever team he's on with an elite style of defense and still provide the team with plenty of scoring to go along with it. Now that the discussions have presumably picked up after Simmons' trade request, there's another issue that could prevent the Warriors from pulling the trigger on a deal for the 3-time All-Star. While Simmons would slot alongside Curry and Thompson seamlessly, they fit with Draymond Green. Another non-shooting, playmaking guard in a forward's body could prove problematic. The potential redundancy between Simmons and Green has the Warriors divided, according to Monte Poole of NBC Sports Bay Area. The next logical question is whether the Warriors would entertain the idea of trading Green to allow Simmons space to flourish. Given Green's history with the team, his resurgent 2020-21 campaign, and his unique chemistry with Curry and Thompson, it would be hard to imagine Golden State sending him elsewhere. But the front office wouldn't be doing its job if it didn't thoroughly consider any and every scenario that could potentially improve the team. Simmons is 6'10". He has magnificent ball handling skills, great athleticism, and he has the ability to push the ball up the floor to kick the ball out to open shooters, and he's an elite defender. If you add any finishing to that, then any team in the NBA has the Defensive Player of the Year. That's the reality of things, because that's how good he could be. Stephen A. Smith also said that if you looked at Ben Simmons and realized that he could shoot free throws in the 75 to 80 range, he would easily be a 23 to 25 point per game scorer without a jump shot. That's how good he is. 23 to 25 points per game and elite defense could have a huge impact on any team. The question now is, what will it cost the Warriors? The Warriors might have to give up the likes of Andrew Wiggins and a few first-round picks to acquire Ben Simmons. The Warriors will of course want to keep the likes of James Wiseman, Draymond Green, and this is a no-brainer, but they would want to keep Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Some weeks ago, it was reported that the 76ers offered the 25-year-old to Golden State in exchange for James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and a number 7 and number 14 overall picks, as well as 2 future first-rounders. The Warriors obviously rejected this package. We're pretty sure that Bob Myers probably fell over laughing when he heard the request before he hung up the phone. That's just an insane offer. No way the Warriors are going to accept anything as outrageous as that. We all know that the Warriors are on the hunt for another star they could pair with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, and as of now, Simmons is the only big player openly available in trade talks. Should the Warriors be able to pull off a trade for Simmons and work on his shooting, Golden State are pretty much set for another championship run next season. However, this is an important offseason for both the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors, for the Warriors will be looking to create a rebirth around their championship core, while they also groom the young players into winning machines. This is a make or break time for the franchise, and any wrong trade or transfer could have a long-term effect on their championship aspirations as well as their future. For the 76ers, they are now left with a bomb waiting to go off. They have a player on their hands that could cut ties with the team and franchise. If they can't get a trade in place before the start of next season, leaving Simmons on the team will create issues. It will only make sense right now for both parties to go separate ways, however, it remains to be seen what will eventually happen. But you can trust us to keep you posted up to date on all the latest news and gossip on everything and anything NBA. Comment below to let us know your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another one of our videos. We'll see you next time, Slam Dunk Nation fans.